Hi, I'm in final year of my master's, and I'm really stressed about my dissertation because I have to choose a topic, and also I have to finalize that topic and submit it to my college. And I'm really stressed about it because I can't think in a straight way and select a topic. And I know you just completed your PhD. Can you please guide me?
Hi. So, selecting a topic for the dissertation is a crucial step in academic journey. So, the steps you can take for choosing the topic first is, in your master's, you have studied so many subjects. While considering the domain and other expertise, if I'll talk about in general way, which assessment do you like the most, or which subject do you like the most? You can select the topic from there. By narrowing down, you can go with the existing research as well. For example, if I'll talk about the medical science, right now the nursing is at the boost up. People are doing research in nursing either in terms of the medical sciences or in the mental health, their resilience, and so more to go forward. So, if you talk about the nursing, you can go the 5 to 6 years research papers. You can narrow down how these research paper gives you a literature gap. So, literature gap is the first thing while deciding the topic here. When you know narrowing down the literature gap, you can connect either you can relate this topic with your interest or not so. So this is the first step you can take for selecting a topic.
Okay, so now I understood how to select a topic. But now the second concern is how to start writing the dissertation. Because I have, heard from my seniors that writing dissertation is a very tedious process. Because you need to do hardcore research for it. And also you need to write, 5,000 or 10,000 words in a certain amount of time. And I haven't ever done any kind of research like that. So can you guide me like how to start writing my dissertation?
Okay, so what you can do here, that you can start with a research question.
Okay.
So previously we mentioned that we need to narrow down the topic. Once you narrowed out the topic, you can go with different research articles, different research theme, as well as the research journal, where you can the preview like, is this the research questions you are grasping? Is it effective for your research? Is the research question are addressing the literature gap? Is your research are the qualitative or the quantitative one? So these three factors are really helpful for addressing the research question. Beside that, you can select the two framework, which preferably the research scholars did. One is PICOT, which means P means the population, I means the intervention, C means the comparison, O means the outcome, and T is the time frame. If you're not comfortable to choose the PICOT framework, you can further go with the PEO, which means population, E is the expected research, and T, of course, is the time frame. So with this, you can easily narrow down your research questions.
Okay, so now I understood how to start writing my dissertation. But the next thing comes is how to find my research gap. There's so many papers available. So do I have to read all of them in order to find my research gap?
When it comes to the identifying research gap, there is no specific research papers. Like you can go to 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 50 and many more. But because you already narrow down the topic, you can search these keywords or over the Google search engines like Google Scholar, ResearchGate. These are the two prominent ones. So you can easily search these keywords of yours narrowing topic over there. From there, you receive 10 to 20 papers. So it is advisable for the scholars to read at least 20 papers to get the idea in terms of the limitations, in terms of the recommendations, as well as in terms of the restrictions. Because after reading the 10 paper, you get the clean idea, like what are the common limitations in each papers you are identifying. And these limitations you can easily document somewhere. And then after you can connect with your peers, with your mentor, with your supervisor, so that they can also help you. Yes, these research questions are good. You can go with these research questions. So these are the 3 steps you can follow while deciding or while finalizing your research questions.
So now I understood how to fill the research gap. But the next question comes is, I've been provided by a template from my university where it's mentioned that abstract is written at the beginning of the dissertation. But I have a general information about it, that abstract is meant to be written at the last of dissertation. So, what should I write first, abstract or introduction?
Okay. So to answer that question, there should be some guidelines, as you have mentioned, that university has asked to the student to submit the abstract either at the initial stage or at the final stage. So if I talk about the initial stage, so what do you think that when it comes to the abstract, you can mention to the university that you are planning this methodology to be adopted, and these results will be the possible results for your dissertation topic. So if it comes to the initial state submission, you can mention these things in your abstract. But when it comes to the final submission, then abstract will hold what are the result has been obtained. So in both of the term, abstract can be submitted at the initial stage, but with the possible outcome, and at the final stage with the achieved outcome. So in that way, the abstract can be submitted in either way.
And introduction?
When it comes to the introduction, so but after submitting the abstract, when it comes to the introduction, so introduction means you are introducing your topic, like why you choose this topic and from where the research questions come, which methodology you are adopting for your research, what will be the outline for the remaining chapters. This will comes under the introduction, and of course, this will goes after the abstract.
So now the thing comes is material and methods. Now the confusion arises is, what should I go for? Qualitative or quantitative method? And even in that, there is primary and secondary research. So what should I opt for?
Okay, so while deciding the research questions, you have came across the different methodology as well. For example, you are opting a literature gap from one paper, and in the same paper, you are identifying that this researcher has been opted the qualitative one. While identifying the other research paper, you will choose like this researchers had opted the quantitative one. Okay, so while you are documenting everything, you need also document like for this question or this literature gap, the researcher choose the qualitative one, the researcher choose the quantitative one. And then after, when you are deciding your methodology part, you also need to make sure that either you have time frame or the limited time frame you have in your hand. For example, if you're talking about the qualitative one, which mostly involves the observation, survey, focusing group, it means that it should be the non-numerical data. You need to go with the participant, grasp their perception, their views, and then document everything. This means it will take a large time frame in your hand to conduct that kind of research. But when it comes to the quantitative research, it means you can go for the secondary one. You can take the data from the existing research, take their values, and use some tools to analyze these one. So the quantitative one won't take much time because that was already in your hand. The research is in your hand. So first thing is about the time frame. If you have that time so that you can go for the qualitative one. Other thing is the research questions are that good that are suggesting for the qualitative research or the quantitative one. And if you're confused in both of the way, you can go for the mixed one as well, in which you can segregate 10 to 10, 8 interviews for the qualitative one, and the remaining one you can choose data for the quantitative one. But this is not end of it, sorry. Because when it comes to both of the research, you also need to make sure that your mentor are clear on that objective as well. Because at last, your mentor will recommend the thesis, the research questions. So after the time frame, after the qualitative and quantitative one, you should directly go to your mentor and ask the same query as well. So this will give you more transparency over the chosen one of your methodology. So primary and secondary method are the two distinct approaches for gathering the data. Both of them have their advantage and demerits. So if I talk about the primary one, it means we are collecting the data directly from the participant, from the different stakeholder. One of the advantage of the primary is that the amount of data is in our hand. It means that to how much participants we want to get the opinion, it will be directly in our hand. When it comes to the 10, 12, 30, 50, depending on our time frame. So the quality of the data. First thing is the prominent advantage of the primary research. When it comes to the demerit or the demerit of the primary studies, it means that it is very expensive process, because when it comes to the sending the questionnaire to different participants, which method are you using? If we talk about the telephonic conversation, it means you don't know either the call will connect to the client or not. When it comes to the email sending to different participants, you don't have any idea either they will respond or not. So in that aspect, it is very cost expensive, or it is very expensive method. Other one is the secondary one, or we'll talk about the secondary method here. When it comes to the secondary studies or secondary approach, it means that the information can be outdated, because you are just narrow down the research questions. You don't know the existing information is up to date or not, because you are just picking the every information, every values from the existing research only. So this is one of the demerit for the secondary research method. But at the same time, secondary method means you're collecting data from the existing research. It means that you can also get the outdated information, which is considered the most prominent demerit of this methodology. But at the same time, it won't take much time, because the existing research paper, you can easily go to the Google Scholar, you can take the data from here. And not only the Google Scholar, there are so many sites or tools from where the data can be extracted. But at the same time, you can go with the meta-analysis with the secondary data, which cannot be possible with the primary one. So these two distinct features help you to get a grasp either which research methodology you can choose for your thesis.
So the next thing comes is results. Now I have to finalize my results for my dissertation, but how should I do it accurately? There must be some tools, to have my results accurately. Can you please mention them?
Okay. So if I talk about the quantitative one, which means I'm selecting the secondary research here, or the primary one, depending on. So if I talk about only the quantitative specifically, you can choose the SPSS. We can also use the Excel over here, which can gives you the result. But when it comes to validating the research, or to ensure the results are good, bad, they are actually that result which is being required, or you are not sure either the result is correct or not, these things can be validated with the existing research, because anyhow you have chosen the data from the existing only. So whatever the outcomes are coming, you can validate simply with the existing research. But when it comes to the qualitative one, the resources are limited. There is only one tool right now we are using for the qualitative research, which is NView. So NView, what actually did is, it used a triangular method, the theme method, the coding method. So it coding down every variables in the qualitative one and their perception. It is quite similar as we are choosing the keywords for the Google research engine. So qualitative holds in this aspect. So right now what I can say is, when it comes to the qualitative research analysis, it is a bit complex when it comes to the quantitative one. But the SPSS, Excel and the NView are the three different tools we can use for both of distinct research.
Okay. So now after the results comes conclusion and discussion. But I have written everything in my results. So now what to write in conclusion and discussion? It's so confusing.
Okay, so most of the time what happens when it comes to the discussion and conclusion, students feel like you have mentioned confusion here.
Yeah.
When it comes to the discussion, here simply you are addressing the research questions with your research. Either the outcomes you are achieved have addressed the research questions you have mentioned in the introduction part or not. This goes to the discussion part. But when it comes to the conclusion, it means that what your dissertation actually concluded. What are the outcomes from your research questions has given to the other research scholar to explore it? Or I can say, what are the key pointers you can say, yes, you achieved this from your dissertation. That goes to the conclusion section. Not only the conclusion one, you can also mention the recommendations. Like this pointer has not been addressed, or for the further research, you can go for this pointers. So this also goes for the conclusion part.
Okay. So now I got a glimpse of what all need to be included in my dissertation. But how to write, how to write 7,000, 10,000 words in a dissertation, and that too without plagiarism?
Okay, so the first thing you can do for that, you can make the outline of the complete work. For example, for different universities, you have a different formatting, or not the formatting, you have the different outlines. Some universities ask for the chapter 2 literature review, but some ask for the chapter 2 methods and methodology. So it is very need to be cleared what is actually the guidelines need to be followed. If I talk in a general aspect, the outline should be introduction, literature review, method, the result, discussion, conclusion, and recommendation, which we already discussed in the previous videos. Okay, so when it comes to the introduction, make it 5 headings, subheadings. It first starts with the background, second with the significance of the research, and after the significance, third one will be the research question. And after the research questions, research method. We are not giving the brief methodology over there, but kindly mention that we are adopting, or the thesis are using the primary, secondary, how many interviews you are planning in that research methodology. And then finally, the last subheadings will be the outline of the thesis. Then after the chapter 2, the literature review comes. So in the literature review, as like I mentioned, you can go with a 10 to 20 research paper and start addressing like what are the key pointers or the key research questions you have identified. For example, when I talk about the nursing as a mental health, you can take it as a topic and start what the other authors are saying for in that aspect. Author XYZ are saying this, and then from that research, you can mention the literature gap. So 4 to 5 paper you can take, write it down their summary and mention the literature gap you can find out from that 5 research. Then take a next subheading, follows the similar manner. And finally, you can make a table of the literature gap. You can identify it from the different research papers. So that completely joins to the literature review part. When it comes to the research methodology, so there are 2 different patterns we need to follow. If I talk about the qualitative one, so first thing is about the sampling, which means how many interviews you are planning, which you already mentioned into the introduction as well. But after the sampling, it should be specified to whom you are targeting with. Either the company or the student or the university people, teachers, according to the research questions you have selected, of course. Then the third thing is the analysis. Which software you are planning to use? SPSS, Excel, or the Nivea, or whatever. Or like if you are not planning to use any software as well, no issues, but make it clear. Data analysis, how the data analysis can be done. Fourth subheading should be ethical applications. If you are taking the interviews, how you are planning to acquire the privacy of the participant. This should also follow into the ethical way. So it goes to the qualitative one, but when it comes to the quantitative one, the patterns differ. Here we are not talking about the samples, but we are talking about the case studies. How many case studies you are planning to use? And of course, you should target the latest 5 years case study, because otherwise it goes to the outdated information, and no one wants to have that outdated information in the thesis. So you should directly go with the 5 years existing papers, and then select the 5 to 10 case studies depending on the word count you are preferring to or your university has mentioned. Then after you go with the triangular method or the coding method, like which variable would you prefer to go with that case studies? Of course, and the quantitative one, the ethical application will come into the picture, because the case study should be select only after getting the privacy information or after acquiring that information from that company. So you should also send the acceptance letter or send the acceptance to that company that yes, we are selecting this case study of yours company. So this should also goes for the quantitative one. So these are the 2 different templates you need to follow when it comes to the methodology chapter. When it comes to the chapter 4, which is the research section. So in the research chapter, of course, because we are using the 2 different methodologies, so the template for the chapter will also differ. If I talk about the qualitative one, we should the first thing we should mention about the sampling description, to whom we are targeting, as we already mentioned in the methodology as well. But when it comes to the research chapter, without defining their name, you can mention that you select this community. You are interviewed 5 to 10 of this community people. Like, you should be specifying the things. Now you are going deeper into the community you have selected, which community you targeted, and among this community, how many people are actually responded. And then for every respondent, for example, the stakeholder one, you can simply mention that, because we are taking care of the privacy issues there. So we can't simply mention the name. We'll mention stakeholder one or the participant one, and he or she mentioned this. And then again, for every 10 people, we mention their perception into the quantitative, into the qualitative one. In the similar, because first heading is the qualitative study or qualitative method, then comes to like validation of the research. It means that whatever they give you, because there are the chances that the participant give you the biased information. Also, they give you the information or their perception just for the sake of interview. So they simply mention like this thing she followed or he followed, but how we are verifying these things, that either they giving the ideas are correct or not. So the everything we validate with the existing research, so that we can verify the perception we get from the different stakeholders are correct. So this should be the two headings into the qualitative research. When it comes to the quantitative one, first thing is about the geographical information. It means that number of participants or number of case studies you have selected, first thing. Secondary thing, about the SPSS result, which tests you have been taken. PE test, regression, correlation analysis, ANOVA analysis, which ANOVA, one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA. So these should be specified. The result screenshot should be there when it comes to the data analysis part in the result section. There you are not verifying the information, but you're simply giving the results you have obtained. And that's it. You are not validating anything, nothing. Because we already verified the same thing, or I can say the same pattern we already followed in the qualitative one. Because nothing is there. Apart from the trading method we have mentioned, triangular method, like which variables we have took. Either these variables are related to the perception the participants said or not. This goes to the qualitative one only. But in the quantitative, we gives the screenshot of the result we obtained. These are the result part. When it comes to the next chapter, which means the discussion chapter. So now there is a big picture come. Whatever the result we are obtained, are these results verifying the research questions we have mentioned in the previous chapter or not? Or we can start with research question 1 and then give the output related to that research question. Or not, if we are not, like, because we already shown the output in the chapter 4 already, we can simply mention the outcome obtained is this, and this is easily verifying the research questions we have mentioned. The similar patterns need to be followed for the qualitative one, qualitative method as well. But there we can mention that participant mentioned this, and this can easily verify our research question or addresses the research questions. So discussion comes into that way. Then once we address all the research questions into the discussion chapter, then goes to the chapter 5, which would be the conclusion. So what we are actually concluding, so we can say participants say this, literature say this, so we are giving this outcome, that my research goes this, my research giving this outcome, or my research validating the result this, so it can benefit it into that way. These all goes to the conclusion part. But once you're done with the conclusion, there comes the section recommendation. Now what would you recommend? Either your research is good, either there is a scope of gap into your research, either it's give you a new research questions, like this can be done by me, but for further research, this can be done by another scholar as well. This goes to the research recommendation section. And then finally, which is the reference section, which actually a crucial part the student and make so many mistakes in this section. For different universities, there are different references styles. For example, AP7, Harvard, or Scholar when it comes to the law dissertation, IEEE when it comes to the engineering dissertation. So this should be followed in a specific manner. When it comes to the APS 7, website, ResearchGate, Google Scholar, which websites you are preferring to, it generally depends upon that. So strictly the references should be classified, and also avoid the falsification of the references. Because right now, we are able to use the ChatGPT. We have the another different tools. We are easily paraphrase entire dissertation. We have Grammarly. We have Quillboard. So if you are using these tools into writing your dissertation or writing the 700 words, I used to say that's completely fine. Use these tools, no worries, but paraphrase the documents. Paraphrase every 500 words you are writing. So when it comes to writing the dissertation, I prefer first make a raw draft and then start paraphrasing it. Try to paraphrase 500 to 600 words in a day. Use ChatGPT, use Perplexity, but don't make the falsification of the references to be cited into your document, because ultimately it will come into the similarity index and it will affect your grade as well. So always paraphrase your document while taking raw contents or the direct contents from any literature reviews. Of course, in research section, there is no need to use any software, because that are just the explanation of the things that you have obtained. So no need to use any tools or any other things into the research and discussion. But finally, after written all those things, proofread the document. Because was, were, has, have, the verb corrections, the grammarly corrections, or the grammar verb incorrect sentences, this all comes under into highlight when you read your document. And I used to prefer that don't proofread by yourself. Give your thesis to some seniors, to your mentors. Because when you are writing, you are into the track of writing the things. You are not much clear, or you have a clear idea, yes, I have written this will gives you this information. But when your mentor have read your document, or mentor will read your document, he or she can easily identify, because he starts reading the dissertation like a story. If the story is not building up, he'll correct you. So always make your document to be proofread by the another people, or if there is no scope for that, try to avoid to read that document within 2 to 3 hours. Just let it be. Read after 2 days. You yourself may correct so many errors of sentence making into the proofreading of that document. And I guess that's it. This is the complete way to outline, to write in, and to reference.
And now I understood how to write my dissertation. But in the beginning, I asked you about the abstract, right? So now, since I have my results, discussion, and everything, now what to write in my abstract?
Okay, so initially when we submitted the abstract, it just gave the perception like what will be the results into the final dissertation. But after the all results we have obtained, the abstract gives you the clear idea what you have done. Like you clearly mention these objectives has been fulfilled. These are the values you have obtained while doing the qualitative research. This is also need to be specified into the abstract, and also gives a slight gray of scope, like what can be done in the future when you are submitting your abstract into the final dissertation. So this can be done here.
Thank you so much for your guidance. Now I'm a bit relaxed about how to write my dissertation, since now I've understood everything. Thank you so much.
Best of luck.